Missouri side. We'll zoom in a bit over here with our Google Map-like tool. And takes a minute for the colors to come up. But there we go, Kansas City, Missouri. I actually live in the southwest part of the city. My home is around in here, and this is kind of interesting. Look at this green. This is what we call the Ward Parkway corridor in Kansas City. Very wealthy area in the city along Ward Parkway, a street with many old money mansions running along it, and you can see the wealthy green. There's the code. But look, just a few miles away, maybe even a mile or so, we see this poverty on the east side of Kansas City, even pockets of some extreme poverty, like right there. South Kansas City, where I grew up, used to be more middle class. Now we see these pockets of real poverty in South Kansas City. Hickman Mills School District area. But again, we have this green hugging the state line, which kind of reinforces Orfield's point, because it's not like all the poverty is in the central city. This is more of a suburban area. There's a lot of poverty there. This, on the other hand, is part of the central city, and we see the wealth. Look up here at the wealth up here near downtown. We can zoom in on that a little bit. And here is that wealthy tract near Penn Valley Park. This is what we call gentrification. This is a phenomenon of some couples, some same-sex, some opposite sex, some without children, some with children in private schools, a few even that are willing to negotiate the difficult public schools in the city, that choose to leave the suburbs or not live in the suburbs in the first place and come in and restore the older houses in the city. They don't want to live in the suburbs. They prefer the diversity in the communities and the older housing in the city. That's gentrification. And you see evidence right here of gentrification in Kansas City. Penn Valley Park is where the Liberty Memorial is located. And as you can see, there's plenty of poverty to the east, but this is not a poor census tract. This is actually quite wealthy. And that's your gentrification. That's something to keep in mind as you read Orfield. Also, an even bigger theme with Orfield is the poverty that you see in suburban areas. The poverty is not all in the central cities anymore, and Orfield really stresses that. In addition to South Kansas City, more of a suburban area where we saw poverty, we see it in eastern Jackson County. There's a high poverty census tract in Independence. Here's another one way out in the suburbs in Independence, high poverty census tract. Here's another one that's in Independence. And then we see that elsewhere in the metro area, like way out south here, going into the suburb of Grandview. And so you can map your own community and see the evidence of the phenomena that Orfield's writing about in this book. We certainly see plenty of poverty in the city around here, but we also see the gentrification going on in this census tract. We see that not all of the city is poor. Here's this wealth along the Ward Parkway corridor in the city. And we see the poverty moving into the suburbs, especially out south here and out east here. So what's the assignment? Well, the assignment is I want you to do this for your community. It could be a smaller, more rural community like Emporia. It could be a more urban community like Kansas City. If you live in a bi-state community, I'd like you to do both sides of the state line. And pull up your maps and then do your screenshot. And if you don't know how to do a screenshot, I will put tips on making screenshots up on Blackboard for you with this assignment. Just look below the link you clicked on to go to this YouTube video, and you'll see hints about how to do a screenshot. I will put those up for both PC and Mac. And so I want you to take a screenshot or multiple screenshots, depending, of your area. And then I want you to write one paragraph. Keep it nice and short. One paragraph, just simple, raw description. What do you see? What do you see in these maps? And try to give it a little nuance. Just like in Kansas City here, we don't just see urban poverty and suburban wealth. We do see urban poverty. We also see suburban poverty and we see gentrification, and we see old money wealth in the suburbs. So give it a little nuance. Don't just say the city's poor and the suburbs are rich, because as we've seen with this exercise we just did, and by reading Orfield's book, that's not true. That's overly simplistic. So write me a good paragraph, good 5 or 6 sentences at least, maybe even some complex sentences, describing the patterns you see with your map. Got any questions, you're always welcome to email me. But this is your graphic organizer assignment. I am stretching the definition of graphic organizer to include maps, and I look forward to seeing your work. To keep it simple, just go ahead and email it to me. I don't want to confuse you, so take your screenshot. It should come out as a PNG file, and then just go ahead and email that file, or if you do more than one screenshot, email those multiple screenshots to me as attachments, and I'll get those graded. I can't wait to read them. Bye-bye.